Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for sticking around, and do subscribe if you haven't done so. And this story is still moving on, and like, comment, and let's do this thing. All right, so where was I? We are still on debunking the family conspiracy theory, whatever it is, the things we don't know. But as I say, I'm speculating and I'm, breaking it down. So, of course, um, my aunt then leaves the home in that kind of a mood. So there's problems, I don't know what happened. And then there was going to be a meeting, as I said, to discuss, you know, to have my uncle there explain himself to the family, what he did, why he did it, and, and whatever, to apologize. So that meeting was set up. So anyway, my uncle phoned me, the youngest uncle. So he phones me, he says, Mchana, thank you so much. Thank you for really, having the courage to set this up. And, so, he told me they have a meeting on such and such a day and whatever. So I wished him luck. I said, you're very brave and courageous. You're showing character. I know it's not going to be easy, but be there, face them. And I had, convinced my elder uncle and him to say, okay, they must meet beforehand, because like I really wanted him protected, the youngest uncle. I wanted him protected because the other family vultures were just like onto him. They really wanted to rip him to shreds. And I said, to my uncle, just like show him camaraderie, because like I wouldn't like for him to appear in that meeting and these people are throwing daggers at him. Oh my goodness. So the reason why I can be so in the knowing about these things is because this kind of behavior has been done to me so many times. And so I understand how vicious these people are. And that is why I just didn't want this. When they say you wouldn't want this to happen to your worst enemy, you know what I mean? And so I was like, oh no, please protect him, because, I know these people are vicious. I've been on their wrong side. So I wouldn't want anyone to experience that. So that was why I was like, tippy-toeing and trying to resolve this thing and make it nice for him. And only because I love both of them, and I wanted, for them to heal their relationship. And only also because nobody has ever done this for me. You see, when things were wrong, when people knew that I was done wrong, nobody stood up for me. Okay? But even so, it's not something I would wish for anyone, because I know what it's like when nobody stands up for you. And so I wouldn't want that. That is the reason why I always stand up for people. Even in a work situation, I have an advocacy spirit, like I don't want people to suffer. And I'm the person that even when things are well for me, I'm not going to keep quiet just because I'm okay. Like if I can say, but this situation is not working for these people, and just because I'm not in that situation, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's not concerning me. So, no, I don't do that. And I wish that other people were like that, but no, mostly people are like, I'm okay, fuck you. That is the way they behave. And I don't feel that is the correct way to behave. So anyway, back to the story. So this aunt is like, now she's the one who is out of the family, because now she left the home. She left the family home in those conditions, in those, unsavory conditions. So anyway, what I did, because I'm linking this story, remember, I said I want to link this story for you, why I think, as the family thinks my uncle's wife was the one who brought problems to the family. I don't believe that, and I'm going to tell you why. So, when my uncle now told me, okay, so, he was like saying, thank you, Mchana, thank you for setting this up. I appreciate you, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, cool. And then I said to him, Malume, it is so important because now my aunt was like ghosting me. She didn't want to talk to me. Like when I SMS'd her or phoned her, she didn't pick my calls, only because I told her the truth and that she is wrong in accepting the house, especially when the people, her siblings, are not happy. So she was not happy that I told her the truth. Okay, even though she was my friend, she was my close friend, but like that is how I love my friends, is by telling you the truth. So she did not like the truth. So now I was telling my uncle, I said to him, my aunt is not talking to me now. So I think she's mad that I, set up this meeting, and, but I believe you guys are having a meeting, because remember, I'm just like a child in this family. So the actual siblings, like my mother and her brothers and sisters, they having the big meeting now. But obviously, because I was instrumental in arranging the meeting, so my uncle is like telling me, the date is such and such, just for courtesy, because I set it up. So I said to him, you know what? This aunt is now not talking to me. I know she's mad because I now told her she's wrong, and that, we are now on the road of amends, So please, I said she's not, I actually told her about the meeting, and I told her she must attend that meeting. So she's not responding to me. So I said to my uncle, it's important that you make sure she is there in that meeting, because I don't think she knows like what my uncle did. Because you see, my uncle did not communicate to her that his grand plan, because he made it look to her that, he was advocating for her to get the property, but his grand plan was to swindle the property from her, allegedly. So I'm saying to my uncle, so because she's not privileged to this information, it is so imperative that she is part of that meeting, because she's in the dark right now, and that is why she's mad. She does not have all the information. So please, Malume, make sure she attends that meeting. So long story short, she never attended that meeting. Okay. So anyway, my uncle phones me after the meeting. He tells me the meeting happened, everything is, going well, and, they are on the road of now doing the things to sort the situation out. So I still again say to my uncle, okay, no, that's great. I'm so happy for you. And I say again, uncle, what is important is that the aunt, the younger sister, is made aware of the outcomes of the meeting, because this is a critical thing. She must know what happened there, because she's still sitting in the dark being angry and all of this. But if she understood what had happened, she would, she will, lose her her story or whatever. So it is my belief, that my uncle never told or never had the courage to tell my aunt the actual story. Okay? And the actual story being that my uncle was planning to swindle. So basically, he used my aunt to believe that she was going to inherit the home. And now, when the story was out in the open that, he did that for his benefit. So I'm saying that I don't think that my uncle ever had the courage to tell my aunt this, because obviously he would have had to say something like, hey, Tasekaya, I'm not proud of what I did, but it is what it is, and it has now come out. And, everyone found out that I was actually trying to use you to get the house from you, because I feel like, I paid so much money, redoing this house and whatever. But that conversation never happened. Okay, this is my belief. I strongly believe this. But you can understand why, because I've drawn, the picture. And I believe as well that my uncle never told his wife. Yes, that is the story. Remember I said to you, now the family kept on blaming the wife for the things that were happening in the family, because they felt like she's evil and she does not want, this part of the family. But I believe it's because the wife was trying to, in her own way, protect her husband, because she believed, yes, this family is so evil. Can you believe these people? They are trying to work you out of a house that we built together, for them. And now, you know what I mean? Because I don't understand why this woman was so against the family, so what is the word I can use? She was literally just so against, and I don't want to say hateful, but maybe that's appropriate. But okay, I'm just running out of vocabulary. You know what I mean? So that is the reason. That is the reason why I believe. And so what happened was that, so obviously, now they were going to lawyers trying to get the, I don't know, because obviously afterwards, I'm nobody, I don't get to know what is what. Now I don't ask, I'm not concerned anyway. I just played my part and it ended there. So, but I do believe like they were going to lawyers and, sorting out the transfer, I don't know what. And I subsequently believe the house was probably changed to a family trust or whatever, which means all of them are part owners and whatnot and whatnot. So, but that's besides the point. I'm glad it's sorted out. But so what happened? Oh, this was like after this whole drama happened, it was like, man, now I can't remember the timelines, but I would literally put my finger on, say, 2 weeks. No, not 2 weeks. A month. Was it a month? A month after this whole thing happened, the meeting happened, and then my uncle had a stroke. Was it there was a long journey, so I can't remember the first stroke or the second stroke, whatever. So, but he had a stroke, and thank goodness we were here. You know what I mean? Like not at that situation where, my uncle was out, nobody wants to talk to nobody, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I then, there's like, it's a bit muddled up now in my brain, but the story that I want to tell, link it to the fact that the wife, my uncle's wife, then banned everyone not to see my uncle, because I think she believed that my uncle was sick because of us. We were bringing negative energy into his life, but it is only because she didn't get the full story from the very uncle. Because obviously, I believe that allegedly my uncle was not now gonna out himself to his wife to say, oh, I tried to screw my siblings. You know what I mean? So he kept his story that suited his narrative. And I do believe he entertained, because like when somebody says something, like I'm now thinking the wife would have said something like, oh, this family of yours are so evil. How can they want to get your house? You built that house and whatever. And then instead of him saying, hey, love, actually that story is wrong. Actually, they are well within their right to do this, because I actually was the one who did them wrong. So that story never happened. You see, she was never put right. And so that is why, when my uncle then had a stroke, so of course I flew to Joburg to go visit him in hospital. And I saw him, and I came back, so the children were like, Mom, how is uncle, da, da, da. But now at this point, he was not responsive, he was not speaking, he was not, now it's very difficult to tell these children, because children, because my uncle is always saying something to them, hi Nina, hi wena ntombi, that, so they like asking me, what did uncle say, so I'm like, I don't know what to tell these children, because like he's saying nothing, and it was just so difficult for me to explain to them. So I said to them, guys, I think what we must do next weekend, I'm going to take you guys to see him for yourself, so that you can see him and see the condition that he's in, because it's difficult for me to explain, because he's just lying there, he's non-responsive and all of this. So next weekend, I then book tickets for 3 of us, and then so I phoned my uncle's wife. I said, hey, I'm bringing the children to see my uncle, because after my visit, they were like, how is he? And I just couldn't really explain to them. So this woman says to me, no, not this weekend. Because, oh yes, and she says to me, no, not this weekend. This weekend is for the aunt, that aunt that I was talking about, who was going to inherit the house. So now I am puzzled, because like this is not how things work. So I'm like, okay, maybe she's a bit stressed, because it doesn't make sense to me. How can she say I cannot come to see my uncle because the other aunt is coming? I just could not reconcile. And then I just literally put it down to, maybe she's stressed, man. Anyway, I've booked the ticket. Anyway, I was just telling her that we're coming. It's not like I was asking for permission. No, I was not asking for permission, but I was just like, telling her, I'm coming and whatever, but I'm bringing the children this time, whatever. So I left it there. And so when we got to Joburg, my other cousin was actually also there. We were talking on the phone because she was telling me that she's not allowed to get in there. The wife is just banning the family to get in there. So because I was now asking her to fetch me from the airport. So I said, please fetch me from the airport. She says, well, this woman is not allowing us. I said, man, just fetch me from the airport. I'll see for myself. So she did fetch me with the children. So she dropped us there because she didn't want to be there, part of it. So I understand. So of course we go into reception and the nurses are like, so I explained to them, oh, we come to see so-and-so. Sorry, then the nurses start to look at each other in dismay. I'm like, what is going on? So these nurses are like shocked. They don't know. So I explained, we just flew from Cape Town. I'm bringing the children. They want to see my uncle. So these nurses, shame, they are so embarrassed. They like, hey, sange siyibone lento. Hayi antiyazi bethuna amaXhosa kanti enza kanje. So I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. So eventually, the nurses tell us that the wife said we're not allowed to see my uncle. I say, hi man, where is she? She says, no, she's there with the other aunt, the youngest aunt. I said, hi bo, just call her. How? What do you mean? So this woman comes out. She says to me, ufuna ntoni apha? How? Now I'm shocked, ne? Hi bo, what do you mean? I told you I'm coming. She says to me, kanti awuzombona. Hey. I'm like, hey, ntombazana njeni kudala ndisiva isigezo sakho, hayi namhlanje ndizibonele ngokwam ngalawam amehlo. Ndithi uthi kutheni apha kum? Uthi kanti awuzombona. Ndithi ndithi abantwana naba balapha bazobona umalume. What do you mean? What? Kanti awuzombona. Ndathi wow. That well, what can I say? Abantwana babhale ileta, at home they did, the pictures and, whatever, balloons, like a card. I said, please, won't you give at least the card to him? So, she just took the thing. I think she probably threw it in the bin. So that was the story. And so we went back. So I flew from Cape Town to Joburg. We took the next flight back to Cape Town. Hey, ukuhamba kukubona, ndiyakutshela. Phila kweli lizwe uzobona izinto. They will show you flames. So, of course, I am shocked to the core. So, when you are so in shock, I was like at the airport. I would just ramble the story to anyone who wanted to hear. Abantu were just like shocked. But what do you mean? Uthi kutheni khange aningenise? What? I said, exactly like that. I flew from Cape Town to Joburg. From Joburg to Cape Town, I have not seen my uncle. Bendiyombona esibhedlele. Abantu were shocked. So, but the story that is important as well is that my other aunt was there. The young one. Remember, what did I say to you? These two, they did not get the full story from my uncle. And that is why there was so much havoc in the family, because they were living a fairy tale. And see, I asked the question again. How is it that the entire family, luckily, you see, this is a nice story because again, I can say, oh, because, people, are very quick to be like, oh, yeah, probably, she didn't let you in because you're such a bitch. No, it's not true. Yes, I am a bitch, but like, that's not the point. The fact of the matter is, all the family was banned except for this aunt. And my question was always, because I asked the family, I said, now this does not ring well for me, because how do you accept to be in the fold at the expense of other people in the family? Because my aunt should never be in that position unless you are a traitor. Unless you are a traitor. Because why when alone will you be allowed to see my uncle when his own brother is not allowed to see him? None of us were allowed to see him, but only you. Why do you think you're special? No, you're not special. You're just a traitor. That's what you are. Okay, but nobody has told you this. And so, she was so mad at me. She's still mad at me today, not speaking to my children. And then she wants to phone them on their birthday. And I'm like, no, stop. Bullshit. You can't be phoning my children on their birthday. What do you think happens in between when it's not their birthday? Because I must sit with the kak to answer to them. Ukuthi, Mama, who owe me? Why you owe me? Engafuni uthetha nathi. I must sit with those questions. But when you want to phone on the birthday, that's bullshit. That's why I can't allow that shit to happen. You're either in or you're out. It's not going to be on your terms. That is not how life works. Okay? That is not how it goes. Because you want to act all nye. No, no, no. So, guys, this is the story. And then later on, then my uncle got 2 minutes. Then my uncle got a bit better. And then my other uncle here was ill in hospital. Not the elder uncle, but my aunt's husband. So we were at, in hospital. So because I then heard that my uncle, the younger uncle, is here in Cape Town. So I was like, oh, the children would want to see him. So I was like surprising the children. I didn't tell them we're going to the hospital in that we're going to see my uncle. So when we got there to the hospital, so they see him, they were so happy. And then the older child of mine, now that child is like, she's a rattle mouth like me. So she's like, so my uncle says to her, you ayini nina, yo ndinigqibele nini, kutheni nina like, bedlalisa abantwana. Kutheni ningazondibona eGauteng? So athi lo, the older daughter of mine, she says, Haibo, but we did go to see you and your wife chased us out. Hey! I was so happy. I was like, yes. I was like, that's my child right there. So now, of course, we are in the hospital room and she's saying this thing. And the family is looking at one another like, yo, yeah, nanko-ke abantwana bakaThembisa. So I'm like, no. So when so obviously my uncle like ignored her, pretended, he did, because he obviously heard the stories, but because he was gonna just wallow in his story the way he wanted it narrated, and it was not a true story. So when this child actually called him out, he like kept quiet, because my feeling is this: if really he didn't know that we were not there or whatever, he would have said, Haibo, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Or he would have even asked people, Haibo, lomntana uthini? This child says they were in Joburg and were chased. What do you mean? He never said anything. So when we got out of the room, of the hospital room now, visiting hours over. So outside, of course, now we're talking about this. So I'm like, yeah, look, she did the right thing. She did the right thing. And actually now I got so mad because I felt like my uncle was playing me for a fool because he knew what was going on, but he was not willing to address it. And then, so he would come to Cape Town. I remember the other day, so he came, and then, I phoned him. I said, are you here? I'm coming to see you. He was like, bring me fish and chips from Stickland. He loves Stickland fisheries. So I bought fish and chips, and, so I said to the family, to my cousins, I said, you know what? I'm going to ask my uncle. I'm going to confront him about the fact that he fed us to the wolves, where his wife chased us out when we went to see him in Joburg in hospital. So the people were like, hi, Sumbuza, hi, what if aphinde abe ne-stroke? I mustn't stress him out. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm not going to be the one to stress him out. So I left it. But, for me, I unfortunately, it is part of my makeup that I can't pretend. Like I don't do that very well. You must know, if I'm your friend, I'm your friend. If I'm not, I'm not. And I'm like, I'm not gonna try. Like, I don't do it, So, my uncle was like, after that debacle where, my daughter like said something and he was like, he ignored it. Then, and you know how awkward this is, like when my uncle is here, like when he's from Joburg, right? So naturally, when you meet him, and he's here in Cape Town, I have to ukubuza impilo. So, hayibo, unjani? How is your wife? That's normally the question that you would ask. But we couldn't ask that, and everyone was like in silence because, like, it's like uncharted territory. Like nobody talks about it, so they just like look at him and be like, "Hi," and da da da, and nobody was willing to be like, "Do you know what? There's an elephant in this room. Let's discuss it." No. So I got tired because I'm not that person that is going to be happy with, talking, around the stories. No, we must get into the story. So I just got hurtful actually of him, of my uncle. So what I did is that, he would be like, because he knew something is up. And he knew that we talk about it because my daughter said something and he said nothing. So it was like this dance, and I don't do, I'm not a good dancer either. I mean, if you know me, I'm not a good dancer. I'm sure there's a reason for that. And so like my uncle would be like, now we was kind of short on the SMSs, be like, oh, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And then I got hurtful. And then I was not responding to him. Because why? I wanted him to ask me, because like you would send me an SMS, Merry Christmas, and then I won't respond. And then you send a WhatsApp and I won't respond, because I wanted him to actually phone me and say, hey, I sent you a WhatsApp. I see you reading it, but like nothing is happening. What's going on? No, he didn't do it. But the reason why I believe he did not do it is because he was scared of what I was going to say to him. Because he knows I was going to call him out. I was going to tell him the truth, and he did not want to hear it because he was determined to live in that falsehood. Okay. So then I just shut down the relationship because like I cannot be in a false relationship with nobody. Like if we can't speak the truth to each other, then so be it. I'm not going to be part of it. Okay. So yeah, so this aunt that I'm talking about, the young one, the one who was to inherit the house, till today she won't talk to me because of the house story, right? It is because of the house story, because there's nothing else. We never had no beef, no nothing. Even um, the wife of my uncle, because she was also very ill. I mean, him and my uncle actually literally passed days apart. Um, so I sent her an SMS that time because things were rough, and the family was just not able to see my uncle still, how many years later. And then and I was prompted by this because one of my aunts was actually so hurt because this woman was like not letting them see my uncle. And as the advocate that I am, I always, I hate it when, things are done to people, even if it's people that are actually horrible to me, you know, like these very people that I fight for are the very same people that would be happy to hear my name being spoken in a setup, and they know that it's the untruth that is being told, and they won't do anything to correct it. Okay, but it's neither here nor there, because for me, I always know the truth, so it's fine. If you entertain lies about me, it's your story, because at the end of the day, when you go to bed, you know the truth. Okay, so that is my thing. So I then WhatsApped my uncle's wife. I still have the WhatsApp actually. And I actually, this morning I checked because I forwarded that WhatsApp to my aunt in the Eastern Cape simply because I knew that my uncle's wife was going to lie about what I said to her on the WhatsApp, because I knew she was not going to let anyone read it, but she was going to spin what I was saying to her. Because briefly, what I said to her was that, do you know what? I don't know what this family did to you, but clearly we've done something, and, we want to really get over it now, because you are not well, my uncle is not well, your children are in a cuck situation, and these are the things. Obviously not like this now, I'm talking on the video. I said on, obviously, respectful on the WhatsApp. I said, you know what? You might think that your children are going to be fine without the family, and yes, they probably will. But also, I want you to know that, a warm bank account is not going to keep them safe or warm at night. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, there's things, us Xhosa people, whatever, or people who believe the things, there's going to be a time, even your son with millions in his bank account, he's going to need one day my uncle to do something because he wants to take a wife, or whatever the story, whatever. You know what I mean? So please don't do this to your children. At least, just leave them in a situation that is nice for them, because we want to be there for my uncle. We want to be there for you even. We want to love you. But like you not letting us in, we don't know why, what's going on. But, and I told her, I said, my theory is that it's the story of the house, that you did not get the full story. You don't know what happened there. And you think you're protecting your husband, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't be protecting him, because he's the one who caused this whole thing, So, it always goes like that. And true as Bob, luckily, I think I sent the WhatsApp to my uncle, to my aunt, to my mother, because I wanted them to know, because I knew the story was going to be peddled, that I said this, I was whatever, whatever. And it did happen that way, because I heard via the grapevine that she was saying, my uncle's wife, that Tembisa was so rude and she swore at her. So I just laughed and I said, oh, I'm glad, because I knew actually it was going to go like that. Because why? She didn't want to face the truth that I was speaking to her on the WhatsApp, because obviously I did not make it flowery for her. I just told her exactly how it's going to go down, and that she must stop her nonsense, because ultimately her children are going to suffer for it. And it's not fair, because like we want to be there. This is our blood. We want to be there for those children. and she's keeping them, and it's not right, you know. And so she didn't like that. And so she would be telling people that, yeah, I swore at her, da da da. So who actually told me that story? And I said, oh, well, you must ask her to show you the WhatsApp. She won't show you because she knows she's lying. But okay, I understand this is what people do generally. They peddle lies just to fit their narrative, okay? But you can't do this to me because, like, it's going to come out. It's going to come out, you know? And yeah, I will expand more on this story, but let's leave it here for now. And so this is why I'm saying, um, you know, today we sit with so much turmoil in the family, but it's not only because of that, obviously. I mean, our problems did never start with my uncle trying to swindle the house and whatever. The problems are long standing, and basically, you know, just that people are just not willing to be open. We are just a bunch of fake ass people, and that's what is the issue actually. It's very sad, but it is what it is. And I refuse to be part of that, you know. I just don't want to be part of that because it is incongruent with my being. I don't do that. Like, you know, people know it. For me, it doesn't matter whether you're my boss, you my client, you my friend, you same treatment, same treatment. I'm not gonna beg you because, you know, you supposedly are my client. No, I tell you to get on your bloody whatever. I don't care. But you will do the right thing and do not expect me to, you know, to do things and whatever. No, that's not how it works. So yes, that makes me very, very unpopular, and I like it because that is me. If you don't want to accept me, I'm fine. I've accepted me. So nobody else needs to accept me because only me needs to accept me. And and so, you know, we just lose out on life because, you know, people, you know, want to dictate how you are supposed to behave and handle them. No, 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 that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But yeah, I'm going to tell more of a story. I want to tell that story of that youngest aunt, you know, how she really, you know, did me, whatever. Anyway, just a short story to add to this. But thank you guys. Please like, please share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and thank you for watching. Please listen to all the videos, and actually it would be great. Tell me, what do you think of this story? You know, because remember, I said this is like a conspiracy theory because nothing was ever proven except just from the fact that my uncle did admit to me that yes, he messed up, which means to me that he accepted that he did try to swindle the house from, you know, the siblings by making my grandmother sign the will, you know, whatever. But, you know, that is actually not the point. The point is, again, at the end of the day, I love my uncle. He's my person. And that exactly does not mean just because you love a person, you're not going to speak the truth. You know what I mean? This did happen. We're not going to shove it under and pretend it didn't happen. It did happen, and it caused a lot of cack. And maybe people that actually don't know the story can actually hear the story and really understand some things, because obviously nobody wants to, you know, open up the story. But thank you. Have a fabulous day. Bye.